Good morning. Welcome back, children, to the channel Awesome Learning. Previous video we had discussed about the parthenogenesis. I gave you a detailed description of how parthenogenesis takes place in honeybee. So little bit more of information has been added up here about parthenogenesis. You can see parthenogenesis is formation of organisms with an unfertilized gamete. So when the organism is produced without the fertilization of gamete, this phenomenon or process is called parthenogenesis. Now it is of three types. Okay, let me show you. The three types of parthenogenesis are erinotochy, thelitoky and amphitochy. Now do not bother about the names because this can be a part of your questions given in the NEET exam. So they're very easy, but if a male is produced from unfertilized egg, if a male is produced from unfertilized egg, then it is erinotochy. The examples are honeybee, wasp, and even turkey, the bird. These examples have been given in your NCERT, if you see. But they have not used the term erinotochy. Then thelitoky. It is just the opposite of erinotochy, that if a female is produced from the unfertilized egg, it is thelitoky. The examples are certain lizards. Amphitochy is, it depends on some environmental factors or the conditions whether a male will be produced or a female. That means the unfertilized egg can give rise to a male also, and it can give rise to a female also, depending upon various factors that have surrounded the organism. And the examples are the amphids. Okay. Next, children, events in sexual reproduction. Now there are three events in sexual reproduction which are divided into three parts. As you see, I have given part 1 to be pre-fertilization, second part fertilization, and the third part is post-fertilization. Now we will be discussing each part one by one. Number 1 is pre-fertilization. Now pre-fertilization, as the name suggests, you can see the process that take place before fertilization. Now what is fertilization? We all know that fusion of gametes is fertilization. So just imagine, before fusion, what are the basic things we should prepare before we want to fertilize, or before we want to go for the process of fertilization. Of course we need gametes. So there are two steps to be followed under pre-fertilization. Number 1 is formation of gametes. The term we use for this is gametogenesis. Okay, so pre-fertilization is divided into two events. One is gametogenesis and the other one is transfer of gametes. As you see here, I have written gametogenesis and transfer of gametes. So both these are important, children, and processes are important, and they come under the topic pre-fertilization. So again I am repeating, pre-fertilization has been divided into two parts. One is the formation of gametes, which is also known as gametogenesis, and the other one is the gamete transfer. Right. Now there are certain things that I want to discuss here is types of gametes. Now there are various types of gametes. If the gametes are identical, that means if the male gamete and female gamete are totally similar, very identical, you cannot differentiate which one is male and which one is female, then such type of gametes are called isogametes. And the example is cladophora, which is a type of algae. So in cladophora, you cannot make out with which one is male and which one is female, because shape, size, structure, everything is same. Next is If the male and female gametes are different and they can be easily identified, they are called heterogametes. Example is fucus or humans. You have done in junior classes. In humans, the female gamete is oval or round shape, and the male gamete sperm is longitudinal. Very different structure. तो हम देखते ही समझ जाते हैं which one is male and which one is female. So this was the production or the formation of gamete or gametogenesis. Then gamete transfer. Now children, gamete transfer is very important, because unless and until gametes are transferred or they meet together, fertilization cannot take place. So this is also a very important step. Gametes need to meet for fertilization, right? Now example, in plants, if we are talking about plants, so in plants the pollen grain, which are the male gametes, pollen grain are the male gametes. They are produced on the anther, and they need to transfer on the stigma. So pollen are supposed to go to the stigma, and then only they will germinate on the stigma and fertilization can happen. Now this process of transfer of pollen from anther to the stigma is called pollination. But this will not happen without the help of certain agents. So there are certain modes of pollination, or there are certain agents, you can say, of pollination. They are water, wind, insect, bird, bat, animals, etc. So these are the agents which will help in the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. We will study about all of them in the next chapter very, very elaborately. Okay, but if in the case of animals also, the gametes need to meet. Either they will meet inside the body of the female, or they will meet in the external environment. That depends. So the first part of the events in sexual reproduction we have done, that is pre-fertilization, is over. Now second part is fertilization. Now what is fertilization? Fertilization is also known as syngamy. And we know what is fertilization: when the male and the female gametes will fuse, that is known as, this process is called fertilization. Now it will be of two types, as I told you earlier also. It is external or internal. We have done this. Suppose in the examples are amphibian and fishes. Now here the female and the male, both of them will release their gametes in water, and where they will meet, they will swim and they will come together and they will fuse. So this type of fertilization is external, because it is taking place outside the female body. But in internal fertilization, as in the example of humans, the male releases its gamete into the female body, where the fusion takes place, the fertilization takes place. So this type of fertilization is internal. So this is all about the second part, that is fertilization. Third part is post-fertilization events. That means those events or those processes which take place after the fertilization. Now there are two parts for this. Here there are two parts in post-fertilization events. You can see, number one is zygote, formation of zygote, and number two is embryogenesis. Now we all know that first zygote is formed, and then this zygote transfers into embryo. So formation of embryo is called embryogenesis. Okay, so post fertilization event has two parts: formation of zygote and formation of embryo, that is embryogenesis. Now we all know that zygote is a link between two generations, of course. Yes, the parents and the offsprings are linked together in between by a zygote. Embryogenesis, children, is formation of embryo. Now what is embryo? It is a ball of cells. Remember, zygote is always made up of one cell. Zygote is always one cell. Now this one cell will divide into two, then two, four, then six, then eight, and so on. So it will become a ball of cells, right? Now this ball of cells will be called as embryo, and from these ball of cells various body parts will be formed. So embryogenesis has two parts, you see. One is cell division and the other one is cell differentiation. Now children, very easy to understand this. What is cell division? It is mitotic division or equational division, where the number of cells are getting increased in the embryo. That means here this division is only to increase the number of cells. Here the chromosome number will be same. Okay, next is cell differentiation. Now what will happen? These cells which are formed due to cell division, they will have to take up a certain particular shape, a size and a function, so that they can perform their metabolic activities further. So when a cell takes up a particular shape, size and function, then we say that the cell has been differentiated. That means it has been separated or differentiated from the other lot of cells. There are so many cells. So few cells will take the shape, will be longitudinal, and they will take a particular function, and so they are called muscular cells. Few will take a round shape and they will have hemoglobin, so they will be known as the red blood cells. So the cells will take a particular shape, size and function, and then we will call that these cells have been differentiated. So these two events are very important in embryogenesis. In the post fertilization events, these two events are very important. Again I'll repeat, in post fertilization there are two events. One is the formation of zygote and the other one is the embryogenesis. Now embryogenesis is again divided into two, that is cell division and cell differentiation, and I have just told you what is cell division and cell differentiation is. Another thing which I want to add here is embryonic development. Now the embryo has been formed. Now this embryo will develop into a fetus or whatever, a sapling, a seedling, right? So what will be the type of development? Now we will discuss about the embryonic development of plants in the next chapter, because the next chapter is totally regarding the plants. So here in the embryonic development I am only discussing about the animals. So embryonic development in animals can be of two types. It can be oviparous, it can be viviparous. So if they are egg laying, they are oviparous, examples are birds, and if they are give birth to young ones like humans, they are viviparous. So this is all about the events that take place in sexual